Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide on Barret's Lost Chapter, Right Arm with a Mission, Part 15. And this is the Chaos difficulty, and on this Lost Chapter, let's start this off with the weaknesses, resistances, elements that the boss can absorb, and of course its abilities. In this one, we are going to be fighting the Jewel Turtle. It does not have any weaknesses. It does have a ×2 resistance to magic attacks. It does not have any elements that it can absorb. And as for its abilities, it has its normal Brave attack, which is a magic Brave attack, Raise Stone, which is melee HP attack, which also cancels retreat, Jewel Bullet, which is a magic Brave attack. This raises the turn rate when inflicting a break or attacking a target afflicted with break. This also triggers additional Jewel Brilliance while retreat is active. This does cancel retreat as well. This also has a plus version which changes from Jewel Bullet after increasing Jewel's Brilliance. This is a more powerful version and also delays the target by 1 turn. Next, it has Sparkle Stream, which is basically increasing its Brave when its Brave is less than its initial Brave. This is a group magic Brave attack plus an HP attack. Next up, it has Jewel Crush, which is a range Brave attack plus HP attack. This also inflicts a sap debuff. Next is Jewel Brilliance, basically removing all its debuffs without frames and granting itself a max Brave up. Next is Retreat, when it hides in a shell and it increases its Brave. The Jewel Brilliance increases. This is a text that you will see. Basically removes all debuffs without frames and also increasing all of the stats for the Jewel Turtle. Next is Sparkles Oppressively, another text that you will see, basically raising its all stats. Next is Sparkles Even More Oppressively, which again another text that you will see, further raising its stats. Next is Hardens Defense, again raising its all stats, and further hardens defenses, again further raising all its stats. And it is immune to a couple of debuffs, which are Max Brave down and Speed down. Okay, so now that we know all the weaknesses, resistances, elements the boss can absorb, and of course their abilities, it's time to take a look at some general tips and guide. And the first one I have for you guys here is to save about 60 to 70% of your abilities. Now the reason for this is basically this is a very tight turn count on the missions tab. I do believe it is 85 turns, so you may want to use some of your abilities on the sub-boss, which is on wave 3, and of course try to use all your HP attack plus and stuff like that on the early mobs. The thing is that the boss actually have quite a decent amount of HP as well, so yeah, just try to save your abilities. About 60% I believe is the way to go. Next is to bring in the boosted characters such as Barret, Tifa, and of course Maria. Other characters to consider if you don't have any of these characters are Ultimisia, Warrior of Light, Squall, Locke, Ramza, Balthier, Faris, Lillicet, Fang, Agrius, Tidus, Lise, or Cloud. Now, Ultimisia is still here, even though the boss is double resistance to magic, because of how she actually saves you a lot of turn counts. She is still kind of viable here. You do need a good party composition alongside with Ultimisia, having some Brave battery to go along with her, especially like Brave regen, for example like Ramza, and of course Charlotta and stuff like that is definitely gonna help, and Y'shtola, not to mention Y'shtola as well. So you do need a specific party composition if you do plan to bring Ultimisia. Now as for the Healers plus Brave battery option, there are Charlotta, Param, Rem, Kate Sith, or Y'shtola, and for the summon, you can bring any of the summon because the boss doesn't have any weaknesses nor any resistances in terms of elements. However, I do highly suggest bringing Ifrit Shiva or Ramu. Between those three, you're good to go. Okay, so now let's take a look at some general strategies that I have implemented during my fights here. Let's start off with the friend support, and I do highly suggest bringing Agrias or Tifa for your friend support. You'll be surprised how good silence is in this particular fight, because for the most part, every time I use silence, it actually blocks off the Jewel Turtle from attacking, so which is very nice. So if you can bring an Agrias friend, it's gonna really help you out. Next is paralysis, silence, and delay are still your best friends, even though, you know, it's the delay part is not completely there, seeing as the boss are immune to magic attacks, and the only one that's really sort of viable right now is Y'shtola. You can say Garland can do that as well, but I don't know how effective he is in this particular matchup. But Y'shtola can still delay, not as much as effective as she normally does because of, again, the double resistance to magic, but still pretty good. And of course, Cloud and Agrias for the paralysis and silence are really going to help you out in this one. Next is to make sure you at least have one turn efficient character to help you reach that turn requirement and have a better score. Now, in all honesty, we do only have a few people like that, like Charlotta. You have, even with Charlotta, she's not overly turn efficient anyway, so I would say Ramza is a good choice, and of course Ultimisia is still there. Next is gravity attacks helps with the boss high max brave, so if you do plan on bringing Ultimisia, is definitely going to help you out. And of course Balthier has some sort of gravity based attacks with his C65 ability, so I do highly suggest to bring some of these characters and you should be fine, even when the turtles do try to hide under their shell, and of course use Jewel Brilliance. You can at least shave off a lot of their brave. And finally, you gotta have some good luck with this one, because this is actually a tough fight from the ones that we've had recently. Okay, so now let's take a look at some possible party compositions. The first one I have for you guys here are Barret, Tifa, Maria, with a Tifa support and Shiva for the summon. Basically, this is like just blasting through the entirety of the fight, not just the early mobs. This is purely a muscle team. Basically, you just rely on Barret's AoE attacks, and of course Tifa's strong single target attacks, and you should be pretty much fine. Maria can be swapped with someone else more effective if you really want. You can add Cloud so you have the Final Fantasy VII nostalgia in there as well if you really like that kind of stuff. So Maria is probably the most replaceable in this party composition, but otherwise still quite effective. She can heal. Sometimes you do take some HP damage, so you may want to have a little bit of that heal as well. Now the next one I have for you guys here is Agrias, Ramza, and Tifa with an Agrias support and Shiva for the summon. It's basically what you guys are seeing here. Basically, you can cycle through your and your friend's Agrias for paralysis and silences in order to save some turns or maybe even save your life. Next, of course, is Ramza to save you some turn counts. He's not overly turn efficient, but he does help, and as you guys can see throughout this video, basically I was pretty close on that turn count and I just barely made it. Next is Tifa, of course, 3 out of 3 for pure muscle damage. In all honesty, I don't think I would have finished this fight without a 3 out of 3 Tifa EX plus, so it definitely helps you get that extra damage off her EX plus. Okay, so next up is Balthier, Y'shtola, and Charlotta with a Tifa support and Ramu for the summon. Now, Balthier here is basically here so he can sort of steal some buffs. You do get every now and then like a max brave up buff out of the turtles, so you can take that away, especially when they use Jewel Brilliance. So really helps that you actually take that off, and so you can shave a little bit better. Y'shtola is there for the delays and massive Brave battery. This is what I was talking about earlier. And Charlotta is here for the massive HP damage. You can definitely switch out Tifa support here with another Charlotta if you feel like that, doing a lot more HP damage. You just have to be careful that you probably won't have a very good Brave shaver if you do decide to bring another Charlotta, especially if you want a double Charlotta with Y'shtola support. With Y'shtola in your party, basically during the summon phase for more HP damage. But it's really going to be up to you whether you like that strategy or not. Now, the last one I have for you guys here is Warrior of Light, Squall, and Locke with a Tifa support and Ifrit for the summon. This is kind of like a budgeted composition if you don't have Tifa. As long as you have Tifa friend, I think you should be fine. Warrior of Light is just there for shields and avoid getting broken, especially with batteries and stuff. He does a good job at that as well. Squall for the mob clearing and save some of the Renzokuken for the boss during the summon phase. This is for the massive damage 100% splash, so do try to save a lot of your Renzokuken for that. And Locke is for heals and Brave battery as well. As long as you can sort of battery Squall, his HP attack plus should be enough to cover for the lack of longevity that Squall has. Alright guys, so that is the end, well basically near the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. Now in all honesty, this is a difficult fight from the ones that we have had recently, especially comparing it to the Ultimate Summons and even comparing it to the latest Crystal Awakening Chaos fight. I did find this fight a lot harder, and I was lucky enough to pull Tifa, although it did use up all my gems and I don't have any more resources for the Emperor. I was still quite fortunate to actually get Tifa, and you know, it did really help to have her in that team. I don't know how effective Barret is on this one, since I did not get his EX weapon and couldn't obviously go for the EX plus. Now, if I'm gonna say something regarding to that really stands out for me on this one, is the turn count. So having those efficient characters is definitely gonna help. If you have those, by all means just use it, because it's gonna be really difficult without it, and you're just gimping yourself basically if you don't actually use like Ramza, and to a certain extent Ultimisia as well. But obviously this is doable without those turn efficient characters, but I just, you know, feel like you'll get that turn count if for whatever reason you clear this and you just need that turn count mission. Just bring those turn efficient characters and you should be fine. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my little channel to grow for each one of you who haven't subscribed, that hit that subscribe button, and it does help with the YouTube algorithm by clicking that like button as well. Make sure this video gets spread out, and of course new players that need help, you know, hopefully this can help them. And of course, leave down in the comments below guys, what do you think of this fight? Did you find this fight a lot harder than the ones that we have previously gotten recently with the Chaos fight? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. If you have any questions, you can private message me there, or if you just want to talk about Dissidia Opera Omnia, you can message me there and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. This is Munchkins logging off guys, and I'll see you guys in the next level.